Hello there, Martyn Green, Devon Fishing Guides. Recently I've been experimenting with paternosters. I designed the T-boom paternoster, the flapper paternoster, which is ideal for shorter distance over clean bottoms. What I wanted was a paternoster that would be useful over rough bottoms. One where I could present a couple of worm baits, see what was around, but one where if I lost the tackle I wouldn't feel particularly inconvenienced by it. It wouldn't cost me a fortune. I'm afraid today money is a little bit on the tight side, so anything I can do to sort of make things that are cheap and cheerful, I like to do. So it got me thinking about the bimini twist. Now, bimini twist is an incredibly strong knot. With the tool that I devised, which is in one of my other videos, it's very easy to tie. But it got me thinking, if I used thicker line and if I used an electric drill to make it even faster, could I come up with some booms which would be really efficient for a flapper rig, but also, if I lost them, cheap and cheerful? And that's when I came up with this little chap. This one only takes a couple of minutes to tie, but it is an incredibly stiff boom. It's only made out of nylon, stiff nylon admittedly. I'm using 100-pound breaking strain nylon for this, but I bought the cheapest that I could find. But it also incorporates a swivel at the end, so that if I was fishing for eels, for example, which might spin a bit, this will help to take the twist out of the line, just as it will also take the twist out of the line if I went onto fish baits instead of ragworm. So it looks daunting, but it's not. It's actually really easy to tie, and the tackle that you get as a result is really good. Let me show you how it's done. Before you can tie the boom, you do need to have a bimini hitch, or a bimini twist if you prefer, tool. I make one that just fits straight into an electric screwdriver or an electric drill. The diagram should make it clear. It's just a piece of bent metal. You could use a thin coat hanger wire, but for me, I find the best wire is grade 304 stainless steel spring wire. Normally I use 1.25 to 2 millimeter thick wire. That seems to do the trick quite nicely. To start the boom, what I need to do is take a piece of nylon, which is about 1.3 meters long, so 1 1/3 meters. To the end of that, I need to tie a swivel. So because it's what I like to term a sacrificial tackle, I lose a lot of them in the rocks, but it's quite par for the course really. So I'm just going to tie on a swivel. Because I'm using a 100-pound breaking strain line, I don't need to go massive on the number of turns. A couple of turns each way on the revised grinner. Wet it, pull tight, and there is my swivel connected. So that's the first part of the tackle. Just going to give that an extra tug, make sure that it's really pulled down tight. And then what I need to do is trim off the end. Get rid of that. And what I've got here, I've basically got 4 swivels connected by a piece of wire, which are held up so I can reach them. So I'm just going to open that up and clip the swivel for the boom onto the snap link on the final swivel. So that's there. I next need my trusty Makita. So my Makita has got a little bimini tool already put in it. I'll put a photo on there so you can see what that's like. And I'm just going to thread it through the loop on the tool. So it goes to the left of the stop and onto the tool. Now I'm going to pull this to the approximate length I want the boom. I can do them short, I can do them long. I reckon probably about 3 to 4 inches. So I start to twist the tool. When it gets to the knot, I'm a little bit careful. Once you've got that bit done, you can just have a bit of fun with the drill. So now there's a little hole just here. I'm going to push the line up between the 2 strands that are on the tool. I'll put a diagram in so you'll see this a bit more clearly. You've got to keep a pinch on just here with your finger. If you don't, it can open up. And then you pull tight. And there's that bit on. Now the temptation is to slide the stuff off, slide the tool off, much easier without the bimini hitch attached to the drill, but it's a lot more awkward to actually do the knot. So leaving it there, I come up from underneath and in between the 2 strands that are on the tool. You can see this big loop that's formed. All you're basically doing is doing a half hitch. So I pull that through there, just like a standard half hitch, and I pull tight. Should be lubricating it. Turn around the other side. Again, up through the middle of the loop. Pull tight. And now I can get that off. You'll see there's no massive kinks because the swivels that are on the wire stop that happening. Don't have to be fancy wire, thin metal coat hanger will do it. But then when you undo the link and take it off, you can see there's your boom. Very simple, very easy to make, but look how stiff it is. It's really, really good. So that's how to make the bimini boom. I'm going to make another one just to be sure. I'm going to put up a diagram of the tackle, which I think will be helpful before the next section. But it also got me thinking, what about if we used it on float tackle? Now obviously a £100 line is going to be way too heavy for float tackle, but £30 line, even with a £40 rig body, that has serious potential. And of course your traces make about a £20 fluorocarbon and you're going to be onto a winner. To make the rig, I start off with about a metre and a little bit of 60-pound line. I use 60-pound line because generally I cast for 5-ounce lead weights, and your safety formula should be 10 pound of line for each ounce of lead, and then a safety margin of 10 pound over and above. So with a 5-ounce lead, 5 times 10 is 50, add your 10 safety margin, gives you 60 pound. So 60 pound is what I'm going to use. So on the top, I could add in a swivel. Today, I'm going to save an expense. It is a sacrificial tackle after all, and I'm just going to do a blood bite loop. So I'll just take that loop, turn it round, back through the middle, over the other side, pull it back through the middle, and there you can see that figure of 8 forming, which I can wet it, put my finger through, and there you go. That's a loop on the top, so I can do a loop-to-loop connection. Or you can tie on a swivel, just more to lose really. From here, I'm going to take one of my 2 booms. I'm going to go through the middle, so through there, and I'm going to pull it up until I get near to the top. And then from here, I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to do 7 turns, just as if I was doing a dropper loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there he is, and there is the boom, just sliding for the moment in the middle of that loop. So now what I do, I'm going to open up the centre of the 7 twists, so the central twist, and I'm going to push the boom through it, and then I'm going to start to pull tight. What I want is for it to be trapped so that the knots, the finishing knots in the boom, are here on this side of the wall of the dropper loop. Wet it, pull tight. If I hold that up now, you can see nice and straight. So I go down to the bottom. Again, I can make myself a dropper loop, but before I do that, I have to remember to slide the boom onto the tackle. So that's that one. I'm just going to make myself a loop for the lead weight. So make a loop, turn it back on itself, through the middle of the loop, over the other side, back through the middle. Now that is what they call a blood bite loop. It's still a figure of 8, but it is a way used to tie a figure of 8 knot in the middle of a trace. But I actually find that tying quite easy, a lot easier than some of the ways of doing it. Twist here and twist there, I can do it. I just find that a bit easier to visualise what's going on. Trim that back, and now I'm going to do exactly the same to the bottom as I did to the top. So I'm going to 7 turns around, so there's my loop, 7 turns around it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pull it up a little, not too much, you want it easy to work with. Now what I need to do is open up that middle twist, so approximately there. Open that one up, push this through it. Remember, I want the finishing knots caught the other side. As I pull tight from both ends, it should it's wetting. It should pull everything nice and tight. So there you can see, there's the bottom boom, and that's all done. Once you've made up the rig body, you can add whatever traces and hooks you want. If you're using worm baits, you might want to add some stops and some beads, but generally I don't tend to bother too much. Normally, because it's over rough ground, I'm using mackerel or squid, and I'll just bind those to the hook with whipping thread. Hopefully the diagram should make the tackle clear. When I finish the tackle, what I like to do is to bind it onto a rectangular tackle winder. That way it keeps the booms nice and straight. After all, you don't want any kinks forming where there shouldn't be any. Again, I get mine from Temu. I get a lot of my stuff from Temu. I find them ever so cheap and cheerful. Anyway, that's it for today. The drill rig is a really good rig to use, and I hope you find it as successful as I have. Certainly, it's very cheap and cheerful. In the meantime, I hope you have a lovely day, and if you would like to subscribe to the channel, please hit the link below. We love it when people do, and hopefully one day we'll have the chance to meet up on the bank. Look after yourselves. Goodbye.